drugs-related double murder, violence and attacks on other prisoners shot dead in Kingston, Jamaica. You will see his story, you will see his photographs.
إذا كنت بالله مستعصما فماذا يضيرك كيد العبيد فماذا يضيرك كيد العبيد.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bilal was a Jamaican brother who came onto the detainee unit at Long Lartin prison in July of 2008. His case was not security related, but because he was facing extradition to the United States, accused of a drugs related double murder in his previous life, they brought him to that unit because he'd been involved in violence and attacks on other prisoners and in other prisons, so they found that maybe this is the best place to keep him. So very soon, so Bilal occupied the cell that was next to mine. We became friends. There were only 7 of us detainees, all 7 different nationalities, and Bilal was in the cell next to mine. So he had been learning. He'd spent a long time. By the time he came to the detainee unit, he had already been in segregation for several months. So there he had tried his best to teach himself Arabic and Quran. So I used to sit with him and I would teach him some tajweed and how to recite the Quran, and we would have some like lessons in my cell. And then I would hear him in the evenings while other brothers were watching TV or watching the news. I would hear Bilal reciting the Quran, and he would be reciting and practicing, and sometimes he would make a mistake. And whenever in the daytime I would go into his cell, I would see that he had photocopies of the 30th juz, and it was hanging from his curtain. So he would go to pray, and as he would pray, he would read from that little piece of paper that was hanging from the curtain in the direction where the Qibla was. And one of his favorite surahs was Surah Bayyina, Surah number 98. That was one of his favorite surahs, and he just used to recite it every evening. I would hear him reciting it again and again and again. Bilal was released. He was extradited to the United States in 2010, and eventually he was released from prison in 2015. Sadly, in 2017, Bilal was shot dead in Kingston, Jamaica. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon him. And I remember one thing that one brother, he said to me about Bilal. He said, this man, he loves the Quran. So whenever I read Surah Bayyina or I hear it being recited, then I always think of Bilal, and I always think of that time on the detainee unit where it would be quiet in the evenings, and I would hear Bilal, I would hear him in his deep voice and in his Jamaican accent. He would be reciting that surah. If you Google the story of Bilal the Jamaican by Babar Ahmad, or even the story of Bilal the Jamaican, you will see his story, you will see his photographs, and you will read all about him. But this was one of his favorite surahs, and this is what I think of whenever I read that surah or I hear it being recited. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أخي أنت حر وراء السدود أخي أنت حر بتلك القيود إذا كنت بالله مستعصما فماذا يضيرك كيد العبيد فماذا يضيرك كيد العبيد أخي أنت حر وراء